Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo, and I'm joined this week, as I'm joined every week that Doug's not here, by Sean Hager.
What's up, guys?
And Doug is MIA, so there's no weather report, which means there's no weather. It's raining here, and it's getting darker and darker. We lost an hour or gained an hour. We felt bad.
I got an hour of sleep that weekend. That was nice.
Yeah, you guys know what we're talking about. We felt bad. Plenty of fun stuff coming up this weekend. My book is out, also very exciting because I never get tired of talking about it. So just a little plug on that on November 11th at 5 p.m. Are you going to be able to come?
Nope. I have to work my other job.
Boo. But anyway, you'll come to another one. There's plenty. There's one at Tall Tales. There's
close enough. I can do that.
Going to have one here, one at Burley. They're going to be all over the place. Go to stateofthebeer.com and you will see my schedule, or you'll actually see a link to my schedule. And come out and say hello. Also, this weekend, we'll plug it again at the end, but we're also plugging it in the beginning. We have the first anniversary.
Not this weekend. The 15th.
The 15th. What?
That's next weekend.
Yes, I'm sorry. Next weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
This weekend is nothing, right? Tuesday is my opening. Thursday, I'm at Tall Tales. And then Saturday.
Yep, grand opening. Well, the 1 year anniversary of our grand opening at the camera just moved on us.
Yes.
That feels like it's looking right at me. It's going to be the 1 year anniversary of our grand opening at the Laurel location.
Sorry, guys.
It is all over the place now.
Sorry. How's that? Good?
Just let me touch it, Dad. Stop touching it.
Excuse me one moment for technical difficulties. Dun, dun, dun.
No, now we're cockeyed.
No, you're not.
You sure?
Looks
Yeah,
pretty
you're
good.
fine.
You look like Batman.
Nope, you're fine.
All right. Anyway.
You moved it. Stop touching it.
Okay.
Jesus.
Produced by Paramount Pictures.
Yeah. We'd like to also welcome on rookie producer Allison Russo, my daughter, who's helping us run the camera as we try to get more and more advanced and fail to do so.
But I think 1 year anniversary. Sorry.
All grain.
Yep, we're having an all grain demo from noon to 5. I think we're going to try to squeeze in a brew in the bag demo as well. Also going to have all kinds of sales, specials, and goodie stuff like that. A couple giveaways. Yeah, fun stuff. If you're not here, you're probably not going to have awesome of a day.
And I'll be here. We'll be taking pictures. Maybe we'll bring out our little live streaming toy and get people to sit down and talk. We'll see. We're still working on the live stream. The camera looks. I've had actually people look at it and say how it looks good. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you got a chance to see
I
it.
watched a couple of the videos from the Good Beer Fest.
Right. Well, that was a professional camera from Pack 14.
Oh, I did watch the video from last week.
Last week's video, though, we look pretty good. So I mean,
I always look good.
Yeah, for me and Doug, it's tough. You know, we're not good-looking fellas, so it's only so much. The camera doesn't help us. Actually, when I saw how well the camera reproduced, I wanted to go back to the other one because at least I could say, well, the Mac camera is a piece of crap. So
yeah, there you go. That's what it is.
So plenty of things to talk about this week. Trying to keep an eye on the clock. We have class coming up. They have classes today and then on Saturday, the 8th is basic wine.
Yes, today is basic beer. We use classes pretty frequently for people who want to get into home brewing. Past the Mr. Beer stage, we basically brew a beer, explain what we're doing, why we're doing it. Wine class, the same thing. We make wine. We discuss winemaking from a kit, winemaking from your own fruits and then juice and things like that. So it's a good intro. And then coming up on the date that I probably should have memorized before I came in on this video is advanced brewing.
It's not on the 15th?
No, no. Advanced brewing is basically, it's advanced extract brewing. We discuss computer programs for building recipes. We discuss some of the cool odds and ends and toys that you can get for home brewing. And we discuss a little bit more in detail some ingredients usage, more in depth with hops, yeasts, barley, and water, which we actually had a really, really good class this past Saturday on grains.
Yeah, Doug was telling me base malts, choosing a base malt to use with
for building the foundation of your all grain beer. We had Mike Bronski from Evolution. If I said your name wrong, I'm sorry. And he has been to multiple beer schools and is very scientific on it. And I think the people in there left significantly more educated than they were when they came in.
Mhm.
Kind of bummed I didn't get to come into the class, but
Yeah,
I got the cliff notes from Doug. So very, very smart guy, and I'm hoping we can have him back for possibly hops and water and yeast because he really knows his stuff.
Well, one of the things we were talking about trying to start doing is this live streaming thing, which is why I've got Allison here helping me, because
Mhm.
eventually I would like to be able to do. I want to get us used to just dealing with the camera
Yeah.
and not being distracted by the computer.
We're not
And-
doing very good with the cameras.
Well, that's okay. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you just a little behind the scenes. I borrowed this tripod from my wife, who's a photographer, but I didn't get the shoe that screws
so
into
it's
the
just-
bottom, so it's just
it's
kind of
just sitting
balanced.
free?
Yeah, it's kind of balanced
Nice.
up there, and so yeah, we're learning lessons every week here
Yeah,
at
those
Beer with Strangers.
GoPro suction cups.
Right. So one of the things that I want to talk about, I wanted to start off with, is they announced the We Three Bastards is released. I guess it's released by now, which is an annual Arrogant Bastard package apparently, and it
I saw
contains
that.
oaked, regular Arrogant Bastard, and double bastard. Double bastard.
Yeah, I like Stone's oaked series
Uh-huh.
more than I do their
Regular.
regular
one.
series.
Yeah.
Their oak double bastard is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge fan of their I guess it's the odd years they do the
That was my question. It says it right here. Have you ever had Lucky Bastard? Because it's not coming out this year, and that's the one they do every other year.
I'm not sure if I had that one. I was thinking of the Russian Imperial that they do with licorice
Oh,
every other year,
I do not
and
know.
that's really good. I may have had Lucky Bastard. One of the downsides of drinking Stone beers is most of the time I drink too many.
Yeah.
And,
and then you don't remember what their names were.
right. But the Oaks series are phenomenal. I'm actually not a huge, I don't say fan because I do like it, but if I go to the store and it's Arrogant Bastard or Double Bastard, I'm going
There's
for
no
double
question. Yeah.
every time. And then when you add oak to it, it really just sets it apart.
I only had, and this is a good kind of segue. I only had Arrogant Bastard in the 90s, and I wasn't nuts about it. And I had it again recently because we've talked about this a couple times on the show, that my palate has improved.
Oh, absolutely. And that was the same way. Like I hated IPAs for the longest time, and now like you got to go seek out it. I think everybody remembers their first Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah, because it was
Whoa.
yeah, it was tough. It
Uh,
was tough on the young palate. I mean, I was probably 23, 24.
Yeah, I was at Washington Street Pub in Easton.
Uh-huh.
And this is when I thought that Sam Adams Cherry Wheat was the end all of craft beer. Super rare, super awesome. And I was
Well,
like,
at the time, it almost
Yeah,
was.
yeah. So I was like, what is this Arrogant Bastard's about? And after more or less pulling my face inside out,
Yeah.
wasn't a fan for a few years, but now definitely it's a pretty awesome beer. It's intense.
And when we're going to show you a video now. For those of you who have never seen it, I had never seen it, or if I had seen it, I don't remember it. But in order to, the first time the Big Beer, I didn't know the Big Beer made a concerted effort to kill craft. But in 1995, which was the beginning of the end at Wild Goose, which eventually would move to Frederick, and by 98, I think they were gone.
Actually, I contacted Flying Dog,
Yeah.
who bought them, and they sold them again.
Oh, who has it now?
Jeez, I can't remember the name of the brewery. It's some little teeny tiny brewery, I think, that was kind of open and closed.
So it's
It
gone.
was in DC. I think Wild Goose is finally done. Like,
Yeah.
gone.
So is it like a public domain beer now?
I couldn't find any recipes or anything. I actually contacted them.
Oh, Ed
For the-
got a couple.
No, but I mean, I contacted Flying Dog and was like, hey, this is what we're doing. I would like to have those recipes if possible. And they said, we'd love to give them to you, but we sold them when we sold the rights to Wild Goose to some little teeny brewery in DC. I wish I remember what it was called, but when I went to look for it, it was just kind of like a domain on the website.
Well, maybe I'll see if I can have that down because that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if they sold the copyright and if nobody owns it, if it's in the public domain, then maybe we can trick some local, like get Lori to make it or get Brian to make it, or
that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, to just do to do a one-off on the Wild Goose. Speaking with Ed, I spoke with Ed today. He said the amber is quite good. He said he doesn't have any confidence in the IPA or in the winter warmer, which is called Snow Goose. But he said the amber is quite good. So come out and get it while you can at the big book launch. But the reason I wanted to talk about this was that there was this commercial. We're going to show you this commercial now. I'm going to throw it over to my producer, and just take a look at the commercial and see how it goes.
Sorry, trying to.
You have it?
Yeah, just gotta get this. There you go.
All right.
Got it. Totally. Apologize.
All right, now hit escape to clear us out of that. One of the things that I don't know if you noticed, you won't remember because you saw it when it came out, but there's an IBU disclaimer. When it says that it is the least bitter beer, it says according to the IBU scale for that rates beer bitterness. And it is amazing that less than a decade ago, they believed, there was the common belief was like, all right, look for the IBUs and make sure that they're low so that you can enjoy your beer.
Yeah, I vaguely remember those commercials. They figured 95, I was 12. I was 12. And still remember those during NASCAR races. And God, Keystone is really awful beer.
I can't imagine like they could never run that commercial. Can you imagine Keystone trying to run that commercial today? Like they could run, it's cheap, it's light, you can drink a lot of it, but you like now they're like it's the least bitter, and in a world where the least bitter is
boring.
The least popular.
Not to segue too far off, I just had it was at the Good Beer Fest. God, I'm really bad with names. Brewery that's been around for a long time, and they just re-released their IPA from the 50s or 60s. And oh my gosh, I can't think of what it was called.
You remember the brewer?
No, that's what I'm trying to remember. Is the actual brewery itself. It's and normally their beer is kind of like
like National, or
it wasn't Natty Boh or wasn't National Premium. It was something like that, but not from Maryland. And that's what drives me insane. Remember, but it was their recipe, and they said this is the recipe we had in 1955, 1960. It was incredibly bitter.
yeah.
I mean, insane. For an IPA, I mean, it was right there with some of the more bitter IPAs I've had.
Now, was it balanced, or was it just like in your
actually,
face?
just you said balanced. That's
Valentine?
Yes. It's Valentine's IPA. No, not even remotely.
It was in your face, hitting you over the head with hot.
I mean, I can't imagine. Well, I was born in '83, so when I think of the '60s, I think of stoners, hippies,
right?
Lovers Lane, cool cars,
right.
The doo-wop and all that stuff. Popping open a bottle of this insanely hoppy, bitter IPA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was almost soapy. At least the keg that I had.
Really?
And I had it out of a bottle. It was a little bit more mild, and then you kind of, as time progresses, you get to the 90s, and it's like, haha, our beer tastes like nothing. Aren't you excited for us?
Yeah, it's there. I know that story. I don't know if you know that story. It's the story of Light, not Miller Lite, but Light beer.
Oh, I'm thinking of like
No,
like
light beer was the first one because there was a health craze in the mid '70s, and they came out with this low cal beer. There was
I
Tab,
remember this.
and there was and Light, and when Light came out, it was hugely popular, and they were making a bloody fortune because they were putting in half as many
Oh,
grains.
Yeah, well, they use. I mean, even nowadays, it's majority of corn and rice.
And what they did though is they ended up kicking off a race to the bottom that
Mhm.
ended up killing like Olympic beer and a lot of these mid-range beers that weren't supposedly weren't that bad. Everybody was like, okay, well, we just have to we have to increase the profits by cutting the quality because apparently nobody cares. And yes, kind of nobody cares, but that's what made Budweiser kind of like such a supreme beer
King
for
of
such a
beers.
long time. It was the only one that had any flavor left. That wasn't like a natural like a national premium.
Mhm. And Netty Bo. And
Right. So yeah, that was the beginning of the end. They were taking the flavor out.
I
to
mean,
increase
even
profits.
so, I mean, because I just can't imagine a beer that, if it's like they say to their original recipe, that intense, that many years ago. Because I can't think of any other.
Everybody else was making lagers.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I can't think of any known IPAs or anything. I can't imagine they were the only one in the country to make a beer like that.
Well,
if that was their style at the time.
I think that, you know what, I don't know. I got to be honest and tell you I don't know.
Yeah.
My guess would be that you would get that from Heineken or from Amstel
Mhm.
or from, I mean, all right, I'm naming these, but
Yeah,
European beers, Italian beers. I like that, by the way, that Peroni. Peroni, is that the name of the Italian beer?
Yeah.
It's like a lager.
There's
It's
another
nice.
Italian beer too, and I can't think of the name of it. It's not
Yeah,
as good.
there are two. I like one of them.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a buddy of mine just got back from Australia, and pretty much you give Foster's to your enemy
Right. Yeah.
down there. Like even they don't drink it. They're like, I can't believe. I don't know why the U.S.
I don't know if
buys
I mean, I must have had a Foster's at some point, but I'd buy the oil can. If anybody wants to sell me beer, start making oil cans again. I'm a huge fan of that.
I like a whole lot of beer in a big can.
But I want to have
Oh,
a popper.
yeah. Well, Foster's you don't need.
Right, but they used
Yeah.
to. They
Yeah,
were
you
one
had
of the
to use
last ones in
punch
the.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't know if you're a little bit more beer history because I'm just going to go overboard. Like pull tabs are practically brand. Like my father.
Oh, they said like the they also had the strip for a
Right.
while, the little teardrop shape.
That when I was a kid, that's what they had.
Yeah, that
The tabs are
annoying.
from possibly the 80s.
Mhm.
When they were on soda, that's when they started getting put on beer. The pull tabs were when I was a kid, but in the 60s, they were still using those.
Like an actual like church keep popper.
Yeah, church key poppers.
Wow.
So yeah,
I'll tell you something I had the other day. I bought some imported soda or something like that, and it had like the regular mouth that it had like the 90s.
oh
Dude,
yeah.
I forgot how tiny that thing was.
Yeah.
I'm so used to-
Just
I remember when
I
Surge
can't
came out.
pour it right down my head.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Surge came up with the wide mouth can. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this is never going to catch on. Now I look at the old ones. I'm like,
How did they drink
how did
that?
you?
Do they even make straws that small?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so moving on from Beer Bitter Face.
Now it's smooth like Keystone.
Oh God, to the Christmas creep. Now, lots of people complain about the Christmas creep. We are not here to do that, or at least I'm not here to do that, because I saw something, and this is why I'm glad that you are here today. I saw something that made me think of you at the Delmar Beer Store, which is Mad Elf is out.
Mm-hmm. You ever had Matter Elf?
I have not. No.
It's another one. There's another. I don't know if it's the same brewery that does Bad Elf, Batter Elf, Naughty Elf, and all kinds of things like that. They're intense. Even Mad Elf is one and done kind of thing. You know, it's like my end of the night beer. All the honey, and I think it's cherries.
I do not know.
You ever had the beer?
I had it 2 years ago.
Okay, it's I think it's honey and cherry.
All I know is I didn't want to run back out and have it again.
I'm
But
kind of with you on that, but it's just because like 9 or 10%.
Yeah, but it's a seasonal beer. And while 3 months ago we were complaining about the pumpkin already being out, I got to say I'm happy to see all the winter beers.
I like a lot of the winter warmers.
Yeah.
My issue isn't as much with the pumpkin beers. It's, quick pumpkins jump in everything I eat and live and breathe for the next 3 months. That's my issue with it. I don't like pumpkin spice.
But for me, on top of that, I think pumpkin beers should be coming out now because they were harvested.
Well, I guess you gotta have them in time for Halloween.
Well, that's what I mean. You don't have to.
Well, no. I mean,
and I think that maybe I don't know. I'm not a fan of pumpkin beer, so don't change your pumpkin beer ways for me.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them using more, like not
seasonal.
buying, like to have your pumpkin beer out in July and August.
Follow the Oktoberfest.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've seen some of them were on the shelves July 1st.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Delicious in October.
I want to interrupt you for a second because I want to praise the Warlock was the one that made that Oktoberfest, right? Was that the Warlock Brewery? Did you taste that?
At the
Good Beer Festival?
Fest, I got over there as the last person got a glass of it.
Oh, it was so
I know.
You've had it before, though. You know those guys.
I know Ron, yeah. I don't know if I've had that beer. I've had a lot of his homebrew, and it's never sucked.
Yeah.
He's one of the ones I'm like, yes, you go from home brewer to
Please.
brewer. You know what you're doing. And he has the BJCP to back him on that.
Yeah.
I think he was our East Coast or our general area representative for BJCP for a while.
Oh, that's very cool.
Mhm.
Well, Warlock Brewery is not open yet, but opening soon. We'll try to get them on. I've reached out to Ron and to Terry, and I haven't had a ton of luck. But I'm going to go up there on my new Adventures into Delaware series that I'm starting this Saturday. But anyway, so Oktoberfest is to store the malt. They would smoke it.
Yes.
And they would smoke the malt, and the Oktoberfest was made of smoked malt, and it was just this brown lager that was not sweet, but certainly not bitter. It was malty. Well, clearly.
But at one time, all malt was smoked. And a lot of times in Oktoberfest, they would have brewed the beer in the spring and let it lager
in the caves,
throughout the summer. And then that was their, hey, let's have a giant party and drink this beer. And the Marzen is hands down one of my top 5 favorite beers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I go out and I get Spaten and Warsteiner and all of the German ones. I try to get this mixed pack of them, and I'm still working on them.
Can't help yourself.
That's the everyone else is looking for pumpkins. I'm looking for the Marzens.
Cool. We're going to get ready to wrap up soon. We are running out of time. I do want to talk about I'm big in Japan, or at least craft beer is big in Japan. Story, and again, you can see the stories, all the links, all the things we talked about are from stories that are linked on the blog. Also at Beer with Strangers at stateofthebeer.com, and you can reach us, of course, through extremebrewing.com with or without the E. You will get there. But this particular story was interesting because craft beer didn't have the kind of foothold that you would expect, according to the article, in Japan because no good reason. Kirin, which isn't bad. I like Kirin.
Yeah, there's Kirin Ichiban, Tsingtao, and Sapporo, which has the coolest tap handle in the world.
Yes.
Actually, I know we're running out of time, but a quick story.
Yeah.
There was a run of, I think, 800 bottles, maybe 8,000 bottles. It was during the tsunami that hit them. The brewery had just mashed in, and all of a sudden, the sirens are going off, and everybody just hauls ass, and they're gone.
Right.
And then they come back 3 or 4 days later, and the brewery wasn't damaged, but the power had been out. So the mash had mashed and then soured. And they were like, run it.
Yeah.
So they just ran it into the kettle, and a friend of mine actually got a bottle of it. Didn't get the greatest reviews, but the story behind that alone I thought was really, really neat. I would love to get a hold of one.
Well, there's an Anchor story like that. Do you know
Oh, really?
about the Anchor
Uh-uh.
earthquake?
Oh, I think I saw
They
that
put
on,
the labels. They put the labels upside down. Same thing during the Oakland earthquake that they had during the World Series or whatever. They had to evacuate, and they were out of the brewery for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And they came back home, back to the brewery. They're like, well, bottle it. And they put the labels upside down. They called it Anchor Earthquake. They put it on upside down. And somebody just found a 6-pack, an unbroken 6-pack, and they brought it into the brewery to give them. I don't know, but because that's the kind of beer like maybe a home brewer could kind of recreate it, sort of, but that's the kind of thing where it was too serendipitous to.
Right. Did you see the that beer has been packaged that they found the live yeast at the.
That was 5th on the list in the shipwreck.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. That's there's two. You see, there's 2 versions of the bottles you can get.
Yes.
You get the really, really expensive one with like the actual cultured yeast, and I'm like
$150 a bottle.
Give me the money. But I never want to drink it. I would just want to put it up on the shelf and just look at it forever.
Yeah, I've said that about several things that I've tried.
Yeah, it's like I'm never. Yeah.
But I would buy a bottle of that if I wouldn't buy the $150.
No, I would definitely buy the other one.
But the 18 there's an 1843. I'm sorry. So in about 150 years ago, in the late 1840s, a ship sank, and some Dutch explorers found the ship. And while they were going through it, they found several bottles intact of beer, and this was high-end beer for the time. And they said that it's got a rose kind of flavor, and almond and clove, rose, almond. and clove.
Wow! I didn't get the details. I know that when they brought the bottles up, they instantly put them in refrigerators just to see, and when they put them on when they started analyzing, they found lees or yeast at the bottom of the bottle, and actually found 150-year-old live culturable yeast.
Yeah.
And they, built that yeast up to do the beer, and then they tried to do the recipe as close as possible.
Yeah, it's been 2 years, and it just came out. I think they found it 2 years ago. It may have been 2010.
Man,
But
I would love to try one out of the bottle from the ocean, but
that's not going to happen. Those are going to be expensive, I think.
I'm sure they're probably gone by now. They're probably like, oh.
Well, it looks like they took one and they siphoned it out. There's a video. It'll be on the site. It's already on and it's a 15-minute long video, but it's very cool. And,
Yes.
and check it out. And that's what. Yes. So we got Anchor. I got distracted. We got Anchor. We got Sapporo. We got craft beer in Japan. Not a big deal. Not a huge story. But what they started promoting recently in Japan is the craft idea of the craft beer. That like these are artisans who are making, who are taking the time to make good beer, and that plays with the Japanese better than.
Hey, look at this crazy,
right?
This or that.
Better than the kookiness.
I love that because beer brewers, especially small batch beer brewers, I don't want to say that. I'll say even big craft breweries. It is an art.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work and time and patience put into those beers. And I think that is a marketing tool that is not being used the way it should be in this country.
Yeah. It's like how kooky is it, but it's not like how hard do we work to perfect our beer.
It's that, you know who's promoting it?
Who?
Blue Moon. They have the stupid little artwork pictures where they're like, taking grains and they're painting with them and all that. It's like, why aren't beer that actually takes effort to make? Why aren't they pushing that? Because Blue Moon sucks.
Well, Shock Top is the best, is the biggest selling craft style beer in the
That's another
in the country. That was the story that fell off. Every week there are stories that fall off, which is another good reason to check out the website. Because there are stories that we just don't get to for one reason or another. I don't think there are any this week because the one that we weren't going to get to, and the only reason we weren't going to get to it is because I forgot to write it down. So, but that's on there, and we're going to call it quits for this week. We've got again on the 15th here at Extreme Brewing in Laurel. There is the anniversary party. If you care to join us in Cambridge, or me anyway in Cambridge, for my great big book launch and some reimagined Wild Goose beer from the 1990s, back when they had the Don't Drink Bitter Beer
Bitter beer
bitter beer face marketing campaign. Feel free to join us. Again, comment. What do you say?
Like,
Comment,
subscribe,
like,
comment,
subscribe,
pause.
and that's all we got until next week.
See you guys.
See ya. Oh, I'm sorry. Until next week, have less stuff, but have better stuff.
That's right. See ya.